Before we get started with this video, everyone, full disclosure, Ubisoft did invite me to a hands-on capture preview event for Star Wars Outlaws, so please take my opinion of this preview and my thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws with a grain of salt. And with all that being said out of the way, what's going on, everyone? My name is Malcolm, also known as Beta. Today I'm here to bring you all my first impressions on my 4 hours gameplay time that I had with Star Wars Outlaws. We're going to be talking about the gameplay, some characters, the story, the world, some quests, like everything in between, and some additional worries and excitement that I do have for this game. So yeah, before we get started with this video, this preview video, don't worry, there won't be any, there's not any like major spoilers. Basically what you've been seeing with previews from like IGN and all that stuff is basically what we all got to play the same thing, so don't worry about any spoilers and whatnot. So yeah, before we get started, you guys please leave a like on this video if you guys like what you saw. Please subscribe for more content. It helps out this channel a lot. When you do subscribe, make sure hit that little notification bell next to the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any content I post to this channel, and make sure you set those notifications to all as well. Share my channel, my videos to all your friends, families, cats and dogs, and whoever who not. And you guys can all follow me on Twitter at beta BAYTUH. If you want to keep supporting me even further, you can do so by donating to my Patreon, PayPal, YouTube Super Thanks, leave a tip, or becoming a YouTube member on my channel. All of those links are in the description down below, and as a pin comment in the comment section down below as well. And with all that being said out of the way, without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws. Let's start with the good. The gameplay / gunplay. I know most of you have already seen or heard online that the gameplay is simple, bland, and dated. And to that I say, hell yeah, 100% it is. But the thing is, that doesn't make it bad though. I know I might get hate for saying this, but it's a little reminiscent of Uncharted 1 through 4's gameplay. Mostly 1 through 3 when it comes to, the fluidity and clunkiness of those games. Uncharted 4 had way more fluidity and versatility or whatever, but just for the sake of, this argument, I'm just gonna say Uncharted in general, where in those games, I wouldn't call the gameplay great or anything. It's just your standard, competent, or good cover-based third-person shooter where you can also do some cool and fun melee takedowns, dodge roll, and throw grenades while facing a bunch of enemies that also keep you engaged during the fight. Coming back to Star Wars Outlaws, yeah, it's, pretty much the same. Like a competent, but at times clunky third-person shooter with some Uncharted / Tomb Raider-like traversal with that Star Wars feel to it, but with the added bonus of having your cute companion Nix with you that adds more versatility to your gameplay and your exploration. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Gameplay in any game genre, doesn't matter if it's a walking sim or FPS like Halo Infinite, should be king. In Star Wars Outlaws case, it certainly is not. But again, it's not bad. Like I said, while the gameplay is good and competent, it's also bland, dated, and really nothing to write home about. But I don't hate it. In the 4 hours I got to play, I was never like, oh great, here we go again, and rolling my eyes during a gunfight or having to travel from one end of the map to another on my speeder. I was never like that. I was like, okay, here we go. Let's do some stuff. But we should actually probably put some asterisks on this section until the full game comes out, because that might change during the full release, because it's a Ubisoft big open world game. But who knows? Only time will tell. Let's move on to something else that I thought was good, or at least held my attention. I thought that was interesting during my 4 hour playtime with Star Wars Outlaws. That is the story, characters, and I'm actually probably going to add in the mission structure, the missions in this that I got to play as well. Let's start with the characters and story, shall we? We play as Kay Vess, a charismatic scoundrel with a bounty on her head for some reason. We don't know if it was the Empire who put the bounty on her head, or another bounty hunter, or a syndicate. We just don't know that type of information, which is actually pretty cool, because this is like one of the reasons why Kay decides to join a criminal syndicate and be allies with one of them, or betray one of them to get all the ill-gotten gains from the jobs that she does, so she can hit it big and do have the easy life with her and Nix, or whatever else she wants to do. It's a story that we've seen before. It's a tried and true, like the character joins an organization or a criminal organization, does bad or good things, get whatever gains, rewards, and money, whatever from those jobs, and they're going to do, like, later in the game or movie or anime, whatever, they're going to do the one last job so we can all hit it big and go our separate ways. Like, this is, it's a tried and true thing, but I actually like Kay as a character. I actually like her back and forth, her rapport with not only her and her cute companion Nix, and they're cutie, but with with the other characters in the game, like later on, you know, doing a mission with ND5 or, you know, the characters from the different syndicates, they're back and forth. How those other scoundrels or the syndicate members react to Kay being an ally on their side, having a high reputation with them, or Kay stabbing them in the back and having low reputation, and seeing the negative reaction from the syndicates that Kay did screw over. I see how that alters, you know, the gameplay, the story, the locations that you could get in and out of while you're exploring the world. Like, it's all pretty interesting. Star Wars Outlaws also has a reputation system that alters the story and the gameplay, like I said. But the thing is, I don't know how much it alters it. Like, if it's like a, you know, like a, I don't know if it's like a Baldur's Gate 3 or like a Witcher type situation or a Dragon Age type situation where it's just like, okay, if you do this mission or screw over this person or, you know, do the good thing here, it like totally could like screw with your playthrough and get the bad ending. Like, I don't know if it's like that in depth like those games, or even Ubisoft other titles like a Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or if it's like minor stuff, like minor choices and minor alterations, like in like a Far Cry 3 or a Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 6, even like how minute and, you know, inconsequential, sorry if I mispronounced that, but like the choices you do in the Far Cry games, like I had no clue. Because a perfect example is in the first mission I got to play Underworld, where I take a job for the Crimson Dawn Syndicate, where I sneak into the Pike Syndicate stronghold to steal some data and you know, that could, you know, indicate, or I say implicate, the Pike Syndicate leader. And if I do that and give it to the Crimson Dawn, that will lower my reputation with the Pike Syndicate, but of course raise my reputation with the Crimson Dawn Syndicate. But I could tell the boss of the Pike Syndicate, you know, the Crimson Dawn hired me to do this and yada yada yada. My reputation would grow with Pike, the lower with Crimson Dawn. But I did the opposite. I, you know, followed through with the Crimson Dawn mission. I did that mission and my Crimson Dawn reputation raised by a good margin, and my Pike Syndicate reputation lowered by a good margin as well. But later, you know, like a few, you know, like 5 or 10 minutes after that mission, I get a call from the boss of the Pike Syndicate. Was like, hey, let's parlay. You do this mission for me, and you know, we can let bygones be bygones. And it's just like, okay, I did that mission for him. It's a mission that I can't show. That mission is under embargo for some odd reason, but it's a trade mission that's under embargo. And I did that and raised my reputation with the Pike Syndicate, but also it lowered my Crimson Dawn reputation as well. How much does that alter the story? I know we're like really early on, but I don't have a sense of like how much is like the reputation, that stuff matters in the grand scheme of things of characters, endings, the story. Like I personally really don't know. Like I said, all I know is it does you know, hurt or help you depending how high and low your reputation is going into these strongholds, these bases of these different syndicates and organizations. I know it, you know, it does that from a gameplay point of view, but from a story and character point of view, that's yet remains to be seen. And let's finish out this part with the missions and the mission structure. I mean, there's really not too much to say about this part other than like, if you're used to playing a Ubisoft open world game like Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, it's very aligned with that, where you could either go big and loud in some sections or stealth your way through. I stealthed my way through most of the missions that I did until the inevitable of like, oh, the guards saw me, or I actually turned a corner too fast, there's gun blazing, kill everyone. That's like about all, you know, really all of that. Nothing like too like, oh gee, this mission was, you know, great. You know, it's just, you know, it's your standard, yeah, it's pretty competent, it's pretty good, you know, it's an enjoyable mission, you know, stealth your way through for most of it, then something goes wrong, then you gun blazing your way through the rest of it. But I will say that the Imperial Base part was the Imperial Base mission that I played was actually pretty fun, because it was your normal stealth your way through, then, you know, the whole, you know, go loud and big explosions happen at the end, but you know, with the whole Imperial Base with the stormtroopers everywhere, and at the end there's a, you know, the space chase and TIE fighters coming after you with the ship combat, which I'll get to in the meh section of this preview. It was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Oh, and one last note before we move on to the next part of this preview: the auto fail that you get during stealth missions suck. Like, there's no way you could go out of it and just go gun blazing and finish the mission. No, during like straight up stealth missions, if you get caught or whatever, it is an auto fail, and that blows. Now let's move on to the math things that I thought about my time playing Star Wars Outlaws. And this is not going to take too long because there's not really that many bad. There's nothing during my time that I would say, excuse me, that was bad. There was just like some meh things, and they're not that many. Like a perfect example, like I didn't bring up during the good section that I thought was good was, you know, like the gameplay and the story and whatnot and the gunplay. I didn't bring up the ship combat because I think the ship combat was, you know, was fairly mediocre. It was meh. It was whatever, forgettable. It doesn't have any like I don't want to say like in-depth stuff like Starfield or anything, but like in Starfield it was very much engaging, and you had to worry about all these different systems and whatnot with Starfield ship combat. With Star Wars Outlaws, it's very simple. It's just like there's an enemy TIE fighter chasing you, do some minor invasive maneuvers, get behind it, start chasing the TIE fighter, shoot, get its shield out, or if it doesn't have its shields, just shoot it, or have your missile lock onto it, blow it up in 1 or 2 hits, then boom, you're done. That's really it. There's nothing really like, you know, there's nothing more, there's not that oomph to it to make it good or great. It's just, it's whatever. It's meh. You know, it's very clear that like most of I think most of, you know, the priorities when it comes to the gameplay is that scoundrel boots on ground, you know, combat, and, you know, the story and the characters and the world and the look and feel of it being Star Wars. With this, sure, the ship combat, it does feel like Star Wars, but there's no, I don't know, in-depth, like intricacies, if I'm pronouncing that right, with a ship combat. It's, you know, it's pretty simple. And another thing I would say that was, you know, is meh, and, you know, again, let me just say this is a preview, not a review. Like, my opinions and how I'm feeling could most certainly change when the full game comes out in like 3.5, 4 weeks when I get my hands on it. But what is the world? Like, while the world does feel like Star Wars, there wasn't anything enticing me. I mean, granted, I didn't spend too much time exploring the open world because I was, you know, doing, you know, messing with the gunplay, how the gunplay and the gameplay feels, because, you know, I'm a really gameplay focused person, and, you know, how the stories and how, you know, how it connects, how the characters and, you know, how, you know, they're back and forth and how the story is and whatnot. So I didn't have too much time exploring the open world, but with the exploration I did with the open world, it was, you know, fine. It wasn't like the open world didn't feel like something like, you know, like a Dragon Age Inquisition, not Dragon Age Inquisition, that's a bad example, like a Witcher 3 to me is like the pinnacle of what an open world game should be, what open world games should strive towards. Nothing like on that level. It didn't have that like Red Dead Redemption 2 feeling, even though I will say that, like, you know, the activities and, you know, how some missions go are very, in locations and whatnot, are very much organic in how you find them, like Red Dead Redemption 2, but it doesn't make me go like, oh yeah, I want to go over there and explore there. It more makes me go like, okay, I want to get to point A to point B to continue the story because I'm interested in the story and characters, if that makes sense. All in all, I would mostly say, for me personally, Massive Entertainment and Ubisoft had a huge uphill battle for me trying to get me to like this game, because, you know, I can admit, like, I'm not that into Star Wars. Like, I'm a Star Wars fan. Like, I enjoyed, you know, and loved, and like, you know, all eras of, you know, Star Wars, from, you know, the new trilogy, original, prequels, the Disney stuff, Lucasfilm stuff. Like, I liked and disliked throughout the era of Star Wars. I'm still enjoying Star Wars to this day, like Acolyte and whatnot. And for Massive Entertainment, for Star Wars Outlaws, they had to make it convincing and made me want to play as someone who isn't a Jedi or a Sith, which, you know, I mean, a perfect example is like Halo is my favorite video game franchise of all time. Like, I love, you know, my favorite Halo games are, you know, the 343 games over the Bungie games, and I love playing as the badass super soldier Spartans. When Halo 3 ODST comes out and we're playing as an ODST, sure, I really enjoy those moments as an ODST, mainly from the new Mobasa sections, but I'd rather play as the badass super soldier Spartan, you know what I mean? Like, in the other Halo games. With Star Wars, like, sure, yeah, like, you know, seeing, you know, a story or playing as a bounty hunter or scoundrel, that's, you know, cool and all, but like I'd rather play as a badass, you know, magic wielder or witch or Jedi or force wielder or Sith, you know. But I feel like for the most part, Massive Entertainment has done a good enough job to get me on board to play as Kay Vess and a scoundrel who isn't a bounty hunter, a Mandalorian or anything like that, or a force wielder or, you know, Jedi Sith. I mean, we don't know if she's a force wielder. I doubt it, but you know what I mean? Like I rather, in franchises like this and Halo, I'd rather play as, you know, the badass mother effer that has the cool superpower or the super strength and whatnot, not just a, you know, your regular person with a gun or a blaster or whatnot. But again, to the developers' credit for Star Wars Outlaws, I'm enjoying playing as, you know, the person without the superpowers or the badass, you know, soldier vibe with Mandalorians. Like, I'm actually enjoying playing as the scoundrel, the Han Solo type character, playing as Kay Vess here. Like, they've done a good enough job. Now again, that all could change. This is just a preview for my 4 hours. That all could change during that 5th hour or 10th hour or 12th hour playing Star Wars Outlaws when the full game comes out. But for right now, I'm pretty much in. Like, the gameplay again is solid. It's good enough to hold my interest with the gunfights. The story and the characters have me invested and interested. I'm excited to see where Kay's story goes from here, like how it ends up with the syndicates and the reputation and how the Empire, all that stuff fits into her story and the characters and whatnot. And Nyx, of course, because Nyx is the, you know, the best. And yeah, like, I'm excited to see where this, you know, this scoundrel adventure takes us with our companions and whatnot. You know, I feel like, you know, I think Ubisoft has a sizable good hit on their hands with Star Wars Outlaws. And that just about does it, everyone, ladies and gents, for my Star Wars Outlaws preview, my first impressions on the 4 hours I got to play of this game. Thank you all for watching this, and thank you for joining me for this preview video. It was actually pretty fun. My first preview event that I ever got invited to. Usually I just get early review codes and whatnot, but this was actually pretty fun and interesting. Hopefully I could get to do, you know, get the opportunity, excuse me, to do this in the future with other upcoming titles and whatnot. That's gonna be, you know, that could be, you know, really fun and interesting for the channel. But yeah, thank you all for the love and support on this video. I don't know, since I haven't posted it yet, but you know, hopefully. Thank you for the love and support, and on my other content I post on this channel as well. Much appreciated. So yeah, before I let you guys all go, you guys can please leave a like, subscribe, share, turn on notifications, set them to all. Follow me on Twitter at Beta BAYTUH. If you want to support me even further, you can do so by donating to my Patreon, PayPal, YouTube Super Thanks, leaving a tip, or becoming a YouTube member on my channel. All of those donation links are in the description down below, and that's a pinned comment in the comment section down below as well. Also, tell me what your guys' thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws. I know you know, a lot of you haven't, most of you haven't played it, but what's the vibe check with Star Wars Outlaws? Are you excited, not excited? Let me know in the comment section down below, or tweet at me at Beta BAYTUH. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace. Thank you all for watching, and I love you all.